Today, we'll visit a certified tree farm along Cypress Creek where Scott's factory once operated. When the factory opened in 1828 in a former grist mill and boatyard, it represented the first known attempt at manufacturing in Isle of Wight County.
55 years ago, I got into the lumber business by going to work for my father-in-law, Stokes Kirk. And the Kirk family had a number of timber tracts they had bought through the years.
Visible from Scott's Factory Road are the remains of an abandoned tenant farmhouse. To find what remains of the original factory, we had to venture past the farmhouse and through the brush with the current landowner.
We have found remnants of the old building, not much of it left, but it was of brick construction. And about 2 years ago, I was working with my metal detector back in the back area of the building. There's a place back there that I think was probably carved out years ago when business was going on this site to turn boats around. And my guess is that they were boats similar to the ones that the oystermen, the larger oystermen used that were called buy boats, and they'd be anywhere from 60 to maybe 85 or 90 feet long. I'm guessing and I'm assuming that the boats had a way to come in and circle around, and possibly I'm doubting that they could get in here on anything other than maybe half tide to high on one going in or coming out. And I don't think there was enough water here to navigate at low tide.
The original mill had several owners, including Andrew Mackey and Josiah Parker. Parker's grandson sold it to John Ross in 1824. Ross built a 4-story brick structure. James Scott of Norfolk then bought the property when it was known as Logan's Mill and had bricks marked Logan, even though no one by that name ever owned it. When Scott prepared to open the factory, an 18-foot, 7-ton iron shaft to hold the giant wheel that spun the machinery gears was hauled from a ship and then pulled 5 miles by 16 teams of oxen to the factory.
It appeared to me that this was a big gear that apparently had a boom mounted to it, and apparently was turned by possibly a hand crank to lift material off of the dock and onto the boat. It was obviously there to make the machine swing from shore to boat.
Scott's factory was one of the 2 major cotton factories operating in Isle of Wight County during the 19th century, the other being Mount Holly, which opened in 1834.
This track is very, very unusual. I never have talked to anyone who actually knew everything that went on down here.
The factory ceased operations in 1862, and during the Civil War, the machinery was placed into storage. It was sold to Thomas Cook, a former Confederate officer from Smithfield, who relocated it to Danville and then by rail to Jamestown, North Carolina, where it was installed in a former grist mill. For 23 years, the Logan Manufacturing Company used the machinery to card and spin cotton. County records show multiple landowners for the property. By 1911, B.F. Latimer reserved 10,000 bricks from the factory building to be removed at his own expense. In 1937, those bricks were sold to Isle of Wight County and used to create the vault addition to the clerk's office. Bricks were also used to build the wall around the courthouse grounds. These bricks are still visible today. There are no remnants of the former mill, and Cypress Creek's footprint has been dramatically altered. Only bricks and a small bit of the factory's foundation remain.
I believe we're at the spot where the factory was, whatever it was. 35, 40 years ago when I was in here to supervise thinning the crop of timber that was in here, there were walls that were pretty visible that were still standing, but now I don't know what has transpired since then, but possibly more erosion or cover up with vines and honeysuckle and various wetland species of plants. It kind of looks different than it did then.